Westminster Government's new apprenticeship levy came into effect today across the UK with the aim of getting 3 million people into apprenticeships by 2020. Companies, private and public, with an annual wage bill of more than £3 million will have to pay 0.5% of their staff costs into the fund, which will be topped up by the government. Ewan Blair, yes, he is related, has set up a company called White Hat, which pairs apprentices with companies. What did he think of the new government scheme?
What it's done is it's basically forced every single major employer to at least have a conversation about whether or not they establish an apprenticeship programme. And that's an incredibly good thing. Now, whether that then leads to long-term change as a result is going to be partly down to apprenticeship providers, it's going to be partly down to employers themselves, and also schools and parents and how they engage with apprenticeships more widely.
And what do you understand when we say apprenticeship? What does it mean to you?
It's a minimum of 12 months where you are working but also learning alongside that. You are being paid a salary, and it covers everything from the very traditional manual trades to AI and bot building with Sage. So, there's an incredible gamut that it covers.
How do you think apprenticeships are perceived?
I think at the moment they are perceived, unfortunately, as probably a lesser option to university, which isn't how they should be perceived. If you look at any publication in the media at the moment on an apprenticeship, there will be a picture of someone in a boiler suit in a factory. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but the fact is there's lots more to apprenticeships than that. It's a much broader offer. Part of the challenge for any employer, and also for the young person, is a CV is incredibly limiting. And especially if you're 16, 17, 18 years old, there's barely anything you can put on there.
And thinking of those CVs, how do you overcome the feeling that some of these young people might have, and perhaps potential employers who might look at the CV and say, well, where's university on this?
Yeah. Look, it's a big problem at the moment that if you look at the vast majority of jobs, even entry-level jobs, university degrees are often explicitly required. If you're an employer, it's been quite easy to use university as almost a way of pre-filtering people in advance. That's no longer going to be the case, with apprenticeships becoming an increasing competitor for young people who are leaving school.
But you've got to convince some employers, I suppose, that apprenticeships have equal value to a degree?
Yes, there is a different perception of an apprenticeship and the sort of young people who do apprenticeships, and university and the sort of people who go to university. And this is only going to be changed with really high quality provision and actually something that can compete with the academic.
Why are you interested in this? Why has this become a thing for you? You went to university, you went to a big investment bank, your parental background people are aware of. Why is this a passion of yours?
So I was always very interested in education policy and employment policy. And with the apprenticeship levy in particular, this idea that it's so rare to have a policy come along that changes an entire space like this. We're forcing every employer to contribute something towards apprenticeships. There was an opportunity to change the way the post-16 education system works, and I found that incredibly exciting. Because someone who believes in the power of education, I'm also very aware that the academic route is not for everyone. And it worked for me, and I loved studying, I loved being in an academic environment. But there are plenty of people who don't, for a whole variety of reasons, and we need to have something that can cater for them.
And do you think, and forgive the cheap family shot that you see coming a mile off, do you think the drive to get 50% of young people into higher education, is that counterproductive to what you're doing now? Or did that help create some of the problems you're trying to overcome with this?
It's tough to say. University has become more expensive. Universities are having to justify their existence and the service they're offering to young people. It comes down to, in any system, be it apprenticeships, be it university, the offer needs to be really good, and it needs to be something that is actually going to make a lasting difference to the person going down that route. The Sutton Trust have commissioned a study that essentially says if you do a higher apprenticeship, you will earn more over your lifetime than you will going to a non-Russell Group university. So I think at that point we need to question, well, is sending 50% of people to university right?
Ewan Blair from White Hat. Your experience of apprenticeships, welcome on pm@bbc.co.uk or on the Twitter BBC PM.